Mastery, chương trình làm chủ công việc kinh doanh của Philippines. Ở trong cái chương trình đó, cái người nghe có cả những tỷ phú, có cả những CEO, những tập đoàn lớn nhất trên thế giới, và họ tham dự cái chương trình đó để nghe Tony và Jay Abraham chia sẻ. Và trong cái video này thì tôi xin nhắc lại một đầu tiên là chúng ta sẽ ít nhất mỗi người phải ghi cho tôi 3 cái bài học, 3 cái ý tưởng để chúng ta tăng được cái doanh thu của mình ngay trong năm 2021 này, đúng không ạ? Ngay trước Tết. Cái điều thứ hai là tôi muốn các anh chị và các bạn chúng ta lưu ý một chút là bởi vì Tony và đặc biệt là Jay Abraham, Jay ông là thiên tài mà, cho nên ông ấy chia sẻ, ông ấy sẽ có 1000 cái suy nghĩ, ông ấy suy nghĩ theo 1000 hướng cùng một lúc trong đầu. Và bởi vì như vậy cho nên nếu chúng ta nghe ông ấy lần đầu tiên chúng ta chưa hiểu hoàn toàn là chuyện rất bình thường, lần đầu tiên chúng ta chưa nắm được hết ý của ông ấy là chuyện rất bình thường, đúng không ạ? Thế nhưng mà để tôi nói với một rất nhiều anh chị đó là gì, là chúng ta ai cũng muốn là thay đổi cuộc đời của mình, muốn làm giàu, muốn nhiều tiền. Thế nhưng mà khi mà chúng ta học một số cái điều mới, chúng ta nghe có thể khó hiểu một chút thì là chúng ta dừng ngay, chúng ta không nghe tiếp. Và đấy là sai lầm của rất nhiều người. Chúng ta muốn kiếm số tiền chúng ta chưa bao giờ có, nhưng mà chúng ta lại không chịu học những cái điều chúng ta chưa bao giờ học. Và khi chúng ta học những điều chúng ta chưa bao giờ học thì cái việc chúng ta khó hiểu, chúng ta khó chịu là chuyện rất bình thường. Mọi người đồng ý không ạ? Cho nên khi mà xem cái video chuẩn bị tới đây thì nếu chúng ta có một cái ý tưởng gì chúng ta chưa hiểu, chúng ta chưa hiểu một cái câu nói nào đó, một câu chuyện nào đó, thì cái việc của các anh chị là gì? Chúng ta phải nghe tiếp, đúng không ạ? Còn nếu chúng ta để như vậy mà chúng ta bỏ cuộc thì chúng ta đừng chắc là tại sao mà chúng ta không chưa kiếm được tiền cho công việc gì, đúng không ạ? Mọi người đồng ý không ạ? Nếu chúng ta đồng ý thì comment chúng ta tôi đồng ý, đúng không ạ? Nếu chúng ta muốn học muốn kiếm cái điều chúng ta chưa bao giờ thử việc thì chúng ta cần phải nghe và phải học những cái điều chúng ta chưa bao giờ được học, đồng ý không ạ? Và bởi vì như vậy cho nên là anh chị chúng ta cũng đừng có lo là sau khi chị xem xong học xong thì tôi sẽ quay trở lại và giải thích cho chị chính xác từng bước một là cái ý của Jay, ý của Tony là cái gì và áp dụng ở tại Việt Nam như thế nào. Và tôi cam kết là sau cái buổi tối ngày hôm nay các anh chị và các bạn chúng ta sẽ có ngay những ý tưởng để chúng ta tăng được cái lợi nhuận của mình trước cái dịp Tết Nguyên đán năm nay, đúng không ạ? Rồi bây giờ tôi mời các anh chị đến với Trực APP trong một cái video gọi là cuộc phỏng vấn vĩ đại nhất về marketing, đúng không ạ? Rồi cảm ơn mọi người, mời mọi người ạ.
You're dealing with a monastery with monks, you're dealing with a legal brothel, you're dealing with an agricultural business, you're dealing with a high-tech business. What do all these businesses have in common? They're all totally unique, and yet you are able to find the difference that makes the difference. What is that?
Well, let's start with what you have very respectfully honored me, and you share the 3 ways to grow a business.
Yes.
Everybody needs to target their most desirable audience. They need to basically appeal to them with a benefit that is going to basically resonate and show that they feel F-I-L-L, not feel, F-E-E-L, a problem or opportunity that's never been fully expressed, that they do it better than anyone else. They got to show them the result, positive, negative, protected, or enjoyment of filling it. They got to get them to take action. And then, depending on the product or service line, you got to get them to keep taking action or figure out what the hell to do once you've sunk the cost. And that's true. Everything, profit, non-profit, it's all the same. It's universal principles.
Now, most people, by the way, they miss the first point you just said there because it goes by so fast. Knowing who your ideal client is probably one of the most important things that I've learned in my business career, and I learned it initially 30 years from the man beside me here. That is, we tend to focus, especially those of you that are artists in the room, we tend to focus on your service or your product and how to make it so great, and it represents whose needs most. Whose needs does your product? If you're an artist, whose? Your own. What really a great entrepreneur does, or a business owner or strategist, is they say, who is the ideal client who can most benefit from what I can create, who will do well in any environment, even in winter, they're going to still spend. How do I meet their needs? Going to your second piece. How do I figure out what is their deepest possible need that's not being fully met or expressed, a problem that can be solved? How do I do that better than anyone else on earth? And then how do I really provide the results, the proof, if you will, that gives them social proof, or as Jay would normally give, let's say, risk reversal. We relate to that as an example so people know how they can eliminate the thing that stops people.
Sure. I can either do it very quickly or I can do it with metaphor. You tell me.
Well, metaphor and deep. I'd love to hear it.
Okay, I do. First of all, let's get the psychology. Anytime 2 people come together for any reason, business, friendship, romance, love, lust, one side is always expressing to the other, either consciously, subconsciously, explicitly, or implicitly, knowingly or unknowingly, that they're asking the other side to take on more more than all of the risk in the situation. Depending on the situation, more than the risk if you're buying software and it blows up and you lose control of your accounts payable, receivable, inventory. If you get married, you get divorced. I go on and on and on and on. So the concept is the more you understand the psychological, the tangible, the implications, the beyond transactional risk, and you can eliminate it, the more you win, the more your competitor loses. And the whole key in business is to put more risk on the competitor because they don't understand this stuff. Now, the story, metaphorically, beautiful story. It's old. It's 40 years old. So, man wants to buy his daughter a pony. Lives in a rural area. 2 ponies for sale. Goes up to the first. Tony's got the pony. He says, great pony, solid pony, beautiful pony. Just had it vetted. I want $600. You buy it, you own it. But it's a great pony. Your daughter can ride it a little bit. Gorgeous pony. Goes to the next person. He says, this pony has been in our family for 20 years. We love this pony like it was our own little boy. We got it for our daughter who's outgrown. She's now in college. We cry every day because the pony loves being with someone. We're looking for a wonderful home for this pony. Why don't you first of all see if your daughter, who's about 8, and the pony get along? Ride it for as long as you want today, an hour. If you think your daughter and the pony gets along, I will be happy to bring the money to your home along with a month's worth of hay. I will not ask you for time. In a month, I will come to your home. You will either be so exquisitely happy that you'll be happy to give me $750 for the pony because you and your daughter now are the best of friends. If that's not the case, not only will I take the pony back, I will clean up all the droppings they left. Which would you buy? Is that metaphor okay?
Yes, it's beautiful. It's
okay.
Beautiful. Give me a hand. Very nice. Very nice.
So the concept, well, I'll give you another example because it's very powerful. When I got started, all I did was I was going to make a point. The optimum marketer is a champion, advocate, fan of his client's audience. You're almost transparent to the client.
Yes.
I'm the advocate of the audience, not you.
Yes.
I have to understand them, and I have to play to them, and I have not play manipulate. I have to grasp what they want, what they don't want, what they need, what they can't express, what they feel, and they don't even know to put words in. Now, so back to your story. I will tell you a story which is pretty cool, how we did $250 million in the seminar business with Wisdom. Okay, so pretty cool. When I started, you were the only one doing high price programs. Everyone else was doing $500. We started at $15,000 and went to 20.
Yes.
Now, to go to 15 and 20 in a market 25 years ago, you either have to be insane or have a process that's very cool. So here's the process we used. In our marketing, we gave them 10 activities they could validate right there. So the first thing we did was we send letters to the list offering my $50,000 a day single consultation. People would respond, not me. Then we go back and say so many people wanted, were provoked, and were prevailed. They said, is there a way we can get access to the man? And the director would say, well, sure, I talked to him. He's a great guy. He said, what the hell? Find some way where there's no risk on their part. So the deal became this. First thing we did, we gave them 10 things they could validate and apply right away before they even had to decide. Then when they called in, we would ask them tons of questions. We had so many success stories. What business are you in? Are you rural? Are you local? Are you 1 sale, 2 sales? Are you high price? And we would just send them recorded interviews and people to call who had already done that to check on it. Then we would send them, I think back then it was about 20 pounds of programs and things I recorded to listen to before they ever had to connect. Then we'd give them the choice. They could pay us or they could take terms. It didn't matter because we wouldn't deposit their check until 2.5 days into a 5-day seminar. And if they didn't feel they had total value, they get it back. We used to sometimes put it on the back of the table, and then we would work with them before they came. And our goal was to pay for an employee. And I go on and on and on and on. We had so many risk reversals that blew people's minds.
And you're $250 million in business. Give me a hand. Very nicely. Very nice. Give me a hand. Oh, wake it up, ladies and gentlemen. How can people have a better idea who their ideal client is?
Well, first thing is you got to know who your existing clients are. You got to look at the 80-20 rule. When you analyze your clients, it is quite profound. There's things you got to look at. Not just the client. You look at origin. You look at initial I'm presuming you sell more than one thing. I always want to know where they came from, what the proposition is they came from, what the what we call the migration or the metamorphosis. Yeah, because different people, all clients aren't worth the same. You get into this concept, if you taught allowable cost, lifetime value, you're going to find within your buyer base that certain buyers buy a lot more time, certain buyers, maybe they're less, maybe they don't respond as well. I used to do lead generating 6 million leads, and you see that it's acquisition cost, it's conversion, it's initial sale, it's back end, it's the stream, and different sources, different types, different product buyers are worth a lot more or a lot less, and thus whatever you allocate to it is either going to be too much or too little. If that makes sense. That answer all right?
It does. Tell me, if you look at a business, if I gave you 5 minutes, that was it, and you got to turn around a business here, what's the first thing you look for? Is there a universal first thing you look for?
Sure. I'm about, and this is clinical, he knows this, I've engineered over my life a lot of breakthrough methodology, ideology, technology, and processes. But the first thing we do is we break it two ways. We maximize and multiply. If your business is, what I call it, viable, if it's making you a living, even if everything you're doing is dumber than hell, we try to maximize what you're doing to stabilize it and free up free cash flow to finance the more sophisticated, powerful, profitable, lower risk, higher probability, more strategic things we can do. But the first thing I do...
If I may interject, and that, by the way, I want to remind you, this is the mistake many people do. Then we talked about not realizing there's still treasure in your current business. You want to go run and do something else, starting a business, starting product lines. What you want to do is remember you're always managing two businesses, the business you're in and the business you're becoming. And everyone on your team's got to do that. You can't take the eye off the business you're in. And what the first thing he does is figure out how to maximize that business so the core structure of what you do gets stronger and more profitable. And then?
Well, I mean, I was giving a lot of my not nomenclature, but my sort of iconic references. I'm known for basically finding hidden assets, overlooked opportunities, underperforming activities, underutilized relationships, underrecognized distribution channels, and that's what I do next. I look at all that stuff.
Say all 4 or 5 of those slowly for everyone.
All right. Okay. Hidden assets, tangible and mostly intangible.
Yes. Give us an example.
Okay. So in the newsletter business in the 80s, I made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars for themselves and myself for two reasons. Everybody was selling a $95 newsletter, and they were incestuously renting each other's mailing lists, and everybody was basically breaking even. And they would do nothing within the newsletter. It was physically delivered. This is pre-internet. So I realized that if you were renting my list and paying 60 cents and breaking even, getting back about 60 cents, if I put that same mailing and stuck it inside somebody's newsletter for 5 cents, theoretically I was going to make 55 cents a piece on each one. However, there was another upgrade. Even if you wouldn't endorse me, by the fact that I was getting a ride in your newsletter, it was implicit.
Yes.
And I thought, what's wrong with that picture? Well, nothing. So I bought the rights to all the newsletters, and we sold hundreds of millions of dollars. Then I honestly created, and I'm saying it with pride, the first lifetime, semi-lifetime, full lifetime. The greatest thing we ever did was hilarious as heck. Lifetimes are where we do it as an actuarial projection, 10 years. So if it's $100, you'll pay $1,000. We did the first lifetime look back pro rata refund. Now, why would anybody negate the very premise? Because it was 18% money market. We were selling a $95 newsletter. We would charge $1,000 for you to have a lifetime. We were making $180 interest on the money, plus every year we would prorate it. We were making $95. So it's being able to...
Dạ đi mà, chị đang ngồi học.
So in other words, he's willing to give you this lifetime guarantee because he knows if you pay for this lifetime version for $1,000 at 18% interest, which is what money markets were then, you made the whole $180. You gave your money back and he still
plus the pro rata on every year, plus the 95.
Yes.
So I've learned when you've looked at as many industries as I have, people think of me as a motivator. I am not a motivator. I'm super serious. I can have fun. I've got a pretty wild sense of humor. I'm dirty, but I take the concept of, because I've been trained in optimization. I've been trained in highest and best use theory. I've been trained in maximum result, minimum risk, and I have a context. I got more. I think the thing that I've got is I got more arrows in my quiver than most people.
Very true. And not speaking from a place that sounds humble, but speaking from a place of truth.
It's clinical.
Yes, it's reality.
But my life converged and vectored into a realization that you either get your business to work harder for you and you work harder for it. And there's enormous...
Did you all get that? Pretty important organizing principle. You get your business to work harder for you, you're going to end up working harder for it.
So there's all these high leverage... By the way, leverage. You probably talked. Two kinds of leverage. Any doctors in the room? Okay, obviously cholesterol. Good leverage, cholesterol, bad. Well, if you have high, good leverage and you can eliminate, control, or reduce dramatically the down, the upside is infinite, the downside is almost zero. So I fixated in my life on uncovering and understanding the highest leverage points with the least risk. So I found what I call the 9 factors. I got tons of these different categories, but these are cool. So very simple. Any one of these you impact positively, it changes the performance of your business. First one is marketing. Change your marketing, change the results. And the results can be changed up to 21 times. No increase in marketing capital, no increase in staff, no increase in market, just an increase in the impact, the effectiveness, the appeal, the process. So green marketing's first.
So before we go beyond, so give us one example of marketing of where you can get a geometric return without spending more money. By the way, what is this, ladies and gentlemen? Optimization, right? How you optimize. Give us just one example.
Well, I mean...
Give us an example where you've done it.
Well, how about how I did the $250 million with $100,000 of cash?
Sure.
So everybody in the seminar business believed in running ads in magazines or running outside lists. I thought that made no sense. It wasn't logical. You got to win trust. Why don't you already go to somebody who's already won trust and has nothing competitive to sell? So I went around the country. Fortunately, I helped a lot of people, including yourself, and they knew my stature. They knew I was wildly crazy. I'm going to use the word brilliant. I don't mean it rude. I mean just that really was the real thing. And I went to them all and I said, let's go to all the buyers who are not competitive. You've already sold everything you sold, and this is not at all competitive. It's complimentary. We'll send them an endorsement letter, and we went to your list, and I think we sold millions of dollars. Went to all the investment newsletters, we sold millions of dollars. Went to Nightingale Crown, we sold millions of dollars. Went to Success Magazine and joint ventures. We were doing joint ventures. We did billions of dollars of joint ventures. An affiliate is a joke. I mean, it's the superficial outer periphery of what's really possible. Yes, is that?
Well, explain why. Because most people have a sense of what an affiliate is. What's the difference for you?
Well, I mean, there's so many other assets you can leverage. You can leverage your distribution. You can leverage your sales force. You can leverage your brand. You can leverage, I'll give you an example, a perfect example. And it's a fun story. I taught a chiropractor one time who was entrepreneurial how to leverage 5 or 6 different other people. We have a list of 1,000 or 500 OPRs, other people's resources. So here's a chiropractor. He lives in somewhere in South Carolina. The big government-owned park has a real problem with pine needles in the fall because the fire ants. You have to pay somebody to take them away. However, pine needles that are when they get mulched are incredible fertilizer. This guy finds a trucking company that was going right by their delivery and coming back dead end. He made a deal with the park that was paying people that he would take it from them for free. He got the trucking company to take it for him for a percentage. He found a car lot that was vacant. He was able to sell it. He went to a college university that had kids part-time. They were able to sell it. He made $400,000, I'll give you the short end, every season for 3 months just by exploiting other people's hidden assets. Does that make sense? I got lots of them, but that's a pretty cool one.
That's great. Okay, we did marketing. Let's go to the next one.
Okay, strategy. Change your strategy. You'll change
Second point of leverage.
Now, I've got a story on this. It's a long one, but God, it's
Sure.
fun. Okay.
Appreciate that.
Okay, and you'll remember Gary Albert.
Sure.
Okay, so I had 2 friends, one's deceased, who were both good marketers. One was a brilliant strategist. One was a tactician. They both wanted to go into the cubic zirconium synthetic diamond business. One was a great copywriter, Gary. So he spends time, writes a full-page ad, runs it in the LA Times, calls it the Beverly Hills Diamond Company, selling a loose 1 carat cubic zirconium for $39. Great ad. Beverly Hills Diamond, he calls it. Spends 25 grand, sells about 40 grand. Net of all costs, he makes about 5 grand. Gives up, closes down, leaves. The other guy was Chase Revell. Remember Chase Revell? This guy started Entrepreneur Magazine.
Brilliant.
He was wild, and he was also had some other issues in his life, but he was brilliant. He was one of my mentors. So he's watching this copywriter. He's thinking, this guy's not strategic. He's a tactician. So Chase sits down. Now he's been a copywriter. Writes, and I apologize, my voice is so bad. Writes a full-page ad. Creates a company called Van Pliss and Tiffany, a take on Van Cleef and Tiffany's. Creates the Van Pliss Diamond. It's $39. Spends the same 25. Doesn't get 40. Only gets $30,000 a sale. Net of everything, he's down 5 grand. However, instead of giving up, he did 3 things brilliant that were the whole demonstrable evidence of this point. Gary, when he stopped his business, stuck a loose cubic zirconium in a piece of crappy cardboard and just sent it off. Chase put his in a beautiful velvet case. He put the case in a beautiful box. He put the box in an envelope with 2 documents. I got to tell you what the document said. The first said, as the president of Van Pliss, I want to personally thank you for having enough trust to have purchased our loose 1 carat stone. Second, before you take it out of the jeweled case, I want to tell you what you're going to see. You're going to see something more brilliant, fiery, dazzling, electric, alive than you even imagined, and it's going to be dazzling. Second, it is going to seem smaller than you think, and I don't want you to think we've taken advantage of you. The only way we can get that kind of intensity is with more density, and density is more weight per this. When people see this, it blows their mind. I'm giving you not the language, I'm shortening it, and they want to come back to us and get 5 or 10 carat stones and go to their jeweler and get them set in beautiful earrings and rings and pendants. And as a courtesy, we have taken the time and we've included in this document a beautiful catalog because we're direct. We have set 5, 10, 25 carat stones in necklaces, earrings, and would like to offer you the chance to, first of all, avail yourself of 80 of them at prices we promise are half of your jewelry. Go ahead and call and get an estimate. Number 2, for having had the trust, we want to encourage you to send the stone back. We'll give you double credit, and we've included a UPS return envelope. And oh yes, by the way, we won't consider your purchase binding and committed until you take the item you buy from our catalog to your jeweler and get a price break. He did $25 million on the back end. That's strategy versus tactic.
Break it up, ladies and gentlemen. For God's sakes, wake it up. Whoa! From losing 5 grand to making 25 million. That's the difference in strategy. Tell us, clarify for people that are saying tactics and strategy. I don't think all people understand the difference.
Okay, well, strategy is the big driving game plan designed to get you to the end, not when you die, but where you're trying to get to. Tactics are just a bunch of activities, techniques that you use to deploy. We should never use tactics unless the strategy is masterful, and they should always integrate